Hello, hello, hello. So I'm so glad you joined me today. My name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. Let's make sure we have sound, which you think I would remember to look for that. So, um, okay, Take What Rings True. Today I want to talk about protection. Sleeping Beauty protection is one of my favorite kinds of protection. If you've ever listened or read or seen the story of Sleeping Beauty, at least one version has Sleeping Beauty pricking her finger on the spinning wheel and she goes to sleep. It was I don't know, it was a witch or somebody that cursed her family. And instead of dying when she pricked her finger, the good fairy or the good witch said, oh, she'll just go to sleep for 100 years or whatever it was. Anyway, so when she goes to sleep, then her castle and all the people in it, her grounds are covered and protected. And it's like all these vines and trees and whatever just make it be not visible to people because they just go around it. They didn't realize there was anything there. So it's completely protected. And I use that kind of protection like a complete container over a group or over a person. So, protection. Now, as I said before, take what rings true to you. If you don't believe what I say, that's fine. If you believe part of what I say, that's fine too. So, I've talked about the angel trumpet, or you can use whatever sound you want. I think of an angel blowing the trumpet before I go into a room or a group or a building to protect my vibration. Because for a while there, I was like feeling nauseous and sick and whatever after going to big box stores. So angels gave me this protection where you raise your vibration, then you use a musical sound and send in your vibration to the group, the room, the building, the store, whatever it is, of protection. Another kind of protection spirit guides told us decades ago was to surround yourself with the white light of the Holy Spirit, which white light from God, just you don't have to see it, you can just ask for it. And you're powerful, you can create it around you. They also suggested maybe putting a lead encasement around you. You know, like you go to the x-ray office and they put up a lead wall protecting the other people from the x-rays. And they put this lead covering over you to protect whatever part's not being x-rayed. So lead, those are two things that you can use every day. Now, we're in the time of shift, the time of transition. So some people are feeling more negativity. If somebody is thinking ill of you, they're jealous of you, they don't like you, they want you to not be as nice, as good as whatever is as you are, they will think negative thoughts, which can come to you called a psychic attack. And then there's also actual dark entities, which are people who were created by God, God's head, created all of us unique beings. And they chose not to be in God's light, to negate God's light. So we call them dark entities because they don't have light. And when you're around that kind of person, sometimes you just all of a sudden feel really low. You may feel nauseous. You may feel like you have a stomach ache or a headache, and it's no reason. And it's because of the lack of light. It's like you're in their space and they sort of like draw the energy out of you, which is not a good feeling. So, Sleeping Beauty protection is one of the kinds of protections you can use. The white light and the lead encasement helps, but sometimes at this point in time of the shift, you need more protection. So I like to use the Sleeping Beauty protection, and it's a metaphor. You're not actually going to create, bushes and vines and trees to protect yourself. You are going to spiritually, mentally do that. So if I need protection, often I will use the Sleeping Beauty protection around me, and I think of it like an igloo, and that igloo is, like, completely protected, just like it was in the castle, Sleeping Beauty's castle. There was a complete protection all around, like this great big dome. So the Sleeping Beauty protection to me is like a dome of protection, and I think of Sleeping Beauty, and that reminds me, okay, it's gonna be complete protection all around. And sometimes I make it like an egg, it goes under the ground too. So, Sleeping Beauty protection. If I'm being attacked mentally, psychically attacked by someone or something, or because I can see through the veil, sometimes I see a dark entity near me, I'll use this protection. Or if I'm trying to separate my energy from somebody else's, I'll use that protection. I try to use protection every day if I remember, which I hopefully will remember every day. Um, and the Sleeping Beauty protection is a nice one because it's like 360 degrees around you. It protects you. If I've cleared somebody's past life, then I'll put up a protection between them and whoever else was in that life so that that energy doesn't come into the present. So you are creating a protection around you, like a dome of protection around you, surrounding your space with light. So I put light inside of my Sleeping Beauty protection. So first I try to clear myself, clear my aura, make your aura strong, clear, intact, color corrected, however you want to say it. Cement my emotion and intellect so I'm not like off, totally intellect, totally emotion. I want it balanced. A lot of times I'll put blue flame because it neutralizes negativity. So I've told this story before. It was the first day of a new training of hypnotists because I'm a hypnosis trainer. And it was at Sylvia's office because I was Sylvia's hypnosis director. Okay, so there's a new class coming in, and I had gone around the room with salt, which is a protection. You can do that for your house. Put salt all the way around. You can do it on the outside, little grains of salt, not a whole bunch of salt, just a few grains, and intend for the house to be protected and any negativity neutralized. Okay, so I put salt all the way around. We're starting class. The students are learning an induction. It's the first time they've ever done an induction, which is the relaxation part of classic hypnosis. And all of a sudden, one of the students being hypnotized went into a past life that was really awful. It's like, what is going on? So I walked to the other side of the room and I realized that side of the room is all dark. And I found out later that the student who was sitting on that side knew she was bringing in darkness, knew she was bringing in a dark entity with her, and didn't do anything about it. So I had to clear the room. Obviously, I helped that student not be in that situation of a horrible life. And, it was a big learning experience for the person being the hypnotist, the person being hypnotized, and the whole class. And one thing was, it's called an abreaction, where you go into a life, you remember a life, and it's an occasion where it's not pleasant. Your cat dies, you're in an accident, I don't know, a tree falls on your arm, something not positive happens. That's called an abreaction. So we dealt with the abreaction. Then I cleared the room and I did it out loud so they could hear the technique. I cleared the room. I neutralized all the negativity. I put Sleeping Beauty's protection around the whole room. And then I found out later how come we had that darkness, because that lady brought in her dark entity with her. Not a very nice thing to do. So, and then when I went back to my desk at the end of that day, the remaining salt in my office, which is right next to the room that we were doing the class in, right next to the person who had brought in the darkness. My salt turned dark, dark charcoal gray. I may have kept that. I don't know. Anyway, it's like an evidence of negativity. So, uh, that was an interesting experience, but it helped. It helped to neutralize the energy because I asked for neutralizing energy. I filled the room with light and I used that protection. So the darkness stayed away. And then when I figured out what was going on with that student, then I removed that negativity. And I'm going to do a class on that, on dealing with dark entities. If you are an energy healer, a hypnotist, or you just are interested, on September 12th, I'm doing a class on dealing with dark entities. Basic and advanced. I mean, big time advanced. Galactic dark entities, groups of dark entities, all that stuff. So anyway, the Sleeping Beauty protection. I love that protection. And I call it Sleeping Beauty protection, even though now I think of it like a protective igloo around people and around me. So if you just sense that some new person, some situation is creating darkness, then put yourself in a container in the Sleeping Beauty protection. Fill that space with white blue flame so that it neutralizes the negativity, and then ask for light to be in there. Put in pink light of God's love. Ask for God to fill that space with love or fill that space with God's energy. A lot of times I'll ask for God's energy through me, over me, and through me, and to flow off and away from me. So don't put up with feeling the darkness and don't think it's you all the time. Sometimes if you're depressed, it may be darkness that's around you. And it could be you're walking down the street and this person is really depressed and you feel the darkness, or this person is a dark entity and you feel the darkness. And because you are a light worker, or you wouldn't be watching this, because you're a light worker, you're more sensitive to light and dark. You know, when you walk into a room or you see someone that just makes you feel wonderful, they lift your light, they lift your vibration. Well, they have light. And then somebody else you may know, it may even be a family member, you're around them and your energy drops and you don't feel good. Well, then you know the difference between feeling the light and feeling the dark. Now, most people, it's going to be neutral, and that's fine. So just know that you can use Sleeping Beauty protection or an igloo and think of it being completely protective. Or if it's really a horrible day and you feel like there's, this whole side of the family at Thanksgiving is being awful, then put yourself in an egg so it goes not only a dome around you, but also under you. So you can put yourself in an egg of protection. There's always entities to help you. You have your personal angel who's always, always with you. You have your spirit guide who's always paying attention to you. Now, they may not be right next to you. They may be using their iPad thing and they may be on their side at a party or at a lecture, but they're always paying attention to you and they can bilocate. They can be at the lecture and they can also be next to you. So they are always available to you. There are entities always available to come help you. So don't think you're asking for too much. When my dad was really sick, he was in intensive care for 10 and a half weeks. And like week 6, I think it was, I went to a class and we were allowed to ask questions. And I asked Rahim, a spirit guide, if I was asking for too much. And he said, you can't ask for too much. Stop thinking that you ask for too much. If you believe you need help, If you want someone to be with you, just like I want my angel to make sure that you're with me today, like really with me. I want Asda to walk with me today. Ask for it. I don't know why in Western culture we feel that we're not worthy of asking, or it's too much to ask, or God doesn't have time for us. God is everywhere and everything. I believe, and spirit guides told us that the chair you're sitting in, the cupboard behind me, the door, it's all molecules, it's all electrons, it's all atoms, and God's holding them together. So he has plenty of time for you because he's all powerful. So stop feeling that you are asking too much. Ask for help and be specific. Don't say, help me, help you get a hot dog, help you find a blanket. What do you want help with? Be specific. So ask God for help, ask angels for help, ask your spirit guide for help, and be specific. What do you want them to do? How do you want them to help you? And use protections. Often we walk through a mall or we walk down the sidewalk and there's somebody who's feeling depressed or somebody who's a dark entity, and we pick it up. Don't let that darkness affect you. Protect yourself. So I suggest the Sleeping Beauty protection, the dome of protection, complete protection around you. So try it. Let me know if it works for you. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week on the next Wednesday, 10:30 Pacific time. Thanks. Bye. Okay. I can't find the end of string thing. My arrow's not working, or whatever you call that thing. End.